Tomlin Sherry, and this is Chocolate Avenue Baking Company. I like all kinds of pie, but one of my all-time absolute favorites has to be banana cream pie. Now, if you asked any 10 random strangers at the grocery store what their favorite fruit is, I could almost guarantee that 5 of them would say bananas. So it only makes sense that I would want to have the absolute most awesome and excellent banana cream pie for Chocolate Avenue Baking Company. So today, I'm here at the drawing board again trying to figure out what taking all of the best components of all of the banana cream pie recipes out there in baking books and YouTube channels, and I've poured through dozens and dozens of them. So I have my favorite way of doing banana cream pie, just like almost everybody does. Heck, most people would probably just get one of those little nefarious graham cracker crusts and put some banana pudding in a tub of whipped cream and call it a day. Maybe some vanilla wafers, or those little vanilla wafers. Those things are awesome, but not for Chocolate Avenue Baking Company. For me, I've got to have the real thing. So I believe I've come up with that here today, and we're going to go through all of this, and I think I've found the absolute best combination and ways to produce the best pie. So we're going to go over to the test kitchen and give this a shot. So the first thing we're going to do for our banana cream pie recipe is we're going to make flaky pie dough. Now, I'm pretty sure if you're watching my channel, you've already made pie dough before, but just in case, I'm going to take you through the pie dough that I use for banana cream pie. There's several different kinds. This is mostly well known as 3-2-1 dough. And for that, what I did was I scaled out and sifted 18 ounces of organic all-purpose flour. I like to use organics in all my baking. You don't have to. You can attain similar results without organic ingredients, but that's just how I do it. Now I have 12 ounces of unsalted Kerrygold butter. Pretty sure leprechauns make this stuff. And also up to 6 ounces of ice water. Please don't use tap water unless you want your pie dough tasting like chlorine bleach, but that's up to you. I put some filtered ice in this filtered water, and you may not need 6 ounces. You're gonna have to kind of judge it. It probably won't take anywhere near all of this, but I'll show you how that comes together. And a teaspoon of sea salt. So now you could use these pie tins, and with this recipe, if you're using like this standard pie tin type of thing, you'll probably get up to 3 of these with this recipe for the dough. I like using these tart tins with the removable bottoms because I like the way they look for my bakery, so I'll be using these today. Plus, very versatile pie dough. We have to chill it for a couple of hours. That's why I'm making this first. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here for this pie dough is I'm going to add my teaspoon of salt, and just going to whip that a little bit just to get that salt evenly distributed. Now you could do this in a food processor if you want. I like to just kind of use my fingers in this because I like to feel the dough. We want to keep some butter pieces about, pea-sized or around there. So I just start working it like this, and I am using cold butter. So once you have your dough looking kind of like this, where you can still see some of those butter chunks in there. You start slowly adding in your ice water. I have 6 ounces plus ice in here, which some of the ice probably already melted. So I'm just going to put a little bit at a time in here, just till this works together. Now you can see that this is coming together nicely. So I'm not going to work this any more than it's already worked. I'm just going to turn this out. And you'll see that that's enough water. So to that amount, I might have only added about maybe 4 of the ounces of water in there. I'm just going to divide this in 2 and flatten these into some discs. Now that we've got our pie dough chilling in the refrigerator, it's time to make the pastry cream. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do here is we're just going to sift together some dry ingredients that goes into this pastry cream. This is 8 ounces of granulated sugar, and this is 2.5 ounces of cornstarch. And also into this we're going to sift 1/2 teaspoon of the sea salt, and we're just going to sift out any kind of lumps here. We don't want any lumps, especially with organic ingredients. I'm just going to break up this egg here. 3 eggs is going to go. And you just want to get this smooth. Just make sure there's no lumps in there. Then we're just going to set that to the side there for a second. Bringing a full quart of the organic 1/2 up to the boil. Keep an eye on this, don't walk away. As we all know, cream and milk products will boil over real fast, and they'll also scald real fast. So the next thing I'm going to do is scrape the vanilla beans into the 1/2, and you're just simply splitting that bean right down the middle, scraping that out. Scraping out all that incredible caviar there. Look at that. Beautiful. It smells amazing already. And I'll just put the whole bean in there. So as soon as you start seeing bubbles, you want to temper your eggs with just about 1/3 of that. Start tempering your eggs in there, and as soon as you get that mixture combined, and scrape all that back into the pot, and immediately start to cook this. And you can see it got very thick very quickly with all that cornstarch and egg in there. This is now a cooked custard. Immediately after it's cooked, I like to strain it into a hotel pan. I'm just going to strain this through this sieve and put a wrap on it. After I add some butter, I'm going to put about 3 ounces of unsalted butter here after it starts to just cool down slightly, and some banana puree. So by straining this, you're taking out any custard that may have cooked a little too much, the eggs, If any of the eggs did happen to cook in there, then this will take out that type of thing, and also strain out your vanilla bean while leaving all those beautiful flecks of vanilla in there. You can kind of dot your pastry cream there with some butter chunks just to work in that butter. Okay, so we're just going to make some quick banana puree for this pastry cream. Just pulse this till it's nice and smooth. So now what I'm going to do is just kind of fold in some of this. Our dough has had a chance to firm up nicely as well, and I have half of it here. Make sure that you work with this as cold as possible. Just want to soften it up a little bit. So then once you get it to the pliable stage, you can start rolling this out. So you're probably going to work this out to, I'm going to say a little better than 1/8 of an inch thickness. So the way you do these, hopefully you can see that, is you kind of drop it in gently. Drop it in very gently and push down. Push the dough down. Don't stretch the dough out. Push the dough down into the tart tin. And then once you get it down in there, you just want to gently push in the sides into the grooves so it takes that shape. And then just using a sharp paring knife, you just chop the tops. If you've ever baked with pie dough before, you know that a lot of times the problem is, no matter what kind of tin you're using, the dough will slump in the oven when you're trying to bake it. So there's a couple of things that you can do that will really help mitigate that situation. The first thing that I do is I freeze my pie shells first. That's the first thing, is freeze them and then pull them out, and you can either dock these before or after you freeze them, but just take a dinner fork or something sharp like that. What I did was I just cut out some parchment circles, and I scrunched them up to kind of like make them comply with the inside of the pie shell. Just sort of put them in the bottom there. I'm just using these black beans here, and I never waste these. You can bake them again and again and again. So I just reuse them as many times as you want. So just spread them out evenly on top of the parchment paper. Don't forget the parchment paper. You'll never get the beans out of the dough. And you're just going to do this, you're just going to bake it first about 10 to 12 minutes or so, maybe 15 at the most with the pie weights in. And then we'll finish baking it after that. So there we go. Just put that in a 375 preheated oven, and we'll have a look at these when they're done. We're going to coat these shells with some melted chocolate. And this is to create a layer a barrier, if you will, between the shell and the wet custard with the bananas that goes into this, because that can soften your pie shell, and if you're not going to eat it right away. And also, why not? Chocolate tastes amazing. So I'm just going to pour some of this into each of these, and it's probably best to let these shells inside the pans until they're set up. So you just want to kind of like roll it around there. It doesn't have to be all the way to the top. You can see that. So, and I left the shells just slightly warm so that it would kind of, let the chocolate flow. So you want to put just enough, but not too much. Another way you can do that is also with the back of a spoon. You can, kind of go in there and make sure that all the little crevices are filled with chocolate. And then we're just going to set this up in the freezer for a few minutes to make sure that the chocolate will stay fairly nice and shiny. Okay, so we finally have all of the components ready. I've unmolded our tart shells, and as you can see, the chocolate has set up and staying kind of shiny there. So now we're going to go ahead and assemble these. So I have our pastry cream here with the banana puree in it, and fill these big ones first. Make sure that there is banana in every bite. A light layer on top of this, and then I'll probably go in there with a small palette knife. Then I'm going to take the Chantilly Cream, and I've put this in a bag with a closed star tip. And I'm just going to drop in little rosettes like that. So it took a little doing, but our banana cream pie is finally done. And there's really only one thing left for us to do. Honestly, I really don't even need a fork. Yeah. Banana cream pie. And I know I got cream up in my nose. I really don't even care. I know the term gets bandied about maybe too much. It's a cliche, but this dessert really is a symphony of flavors. It's got the perfect buttery, crispy tart shell that doesn't get soft because of the delicious Lindt chocolate that I used. We did a coating inside, absolutely delicious. Pastry cream folded with banana puree and a Chantilly cream on top. I mean, really, there's not much else to say. Absolutely delicious. I hope you'll give this a try at home. And yeah, delicious dessert. Have a great evening.